The 2023 Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of China Taiwan, the MOFA, and the Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund, the ICDF, scholarship deadlines are just around the corner. This next interview seeks to offer clarity for future applicants, answering some of the most common questions. Welcome to Good Morning SKN, Mr. Jack Lee, Second Secretary at the Embassy of the Republic of China Taiwan in St. Kitts and Nevis, and Mistress Carol Boddie, Education Officer of the Ministry of Education. Good morning to you both, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning.
Our pleasure indeed. So we're going to start right off the bat. When were these scholarships introduced to the Federation?
These scholarships they were introduced to the Federation many years ago. I think it's over 20 years now since our citizens have had the opportunity to apply for these scholarships.
Okay.
I know it doesn't show on my face, but education gets me really excited. And when we think about, the merit of scholarships, the fact that we're receiving scholarships, it's really a blessing. So thank you again for your work to that end. How have these scholarships changed throughout the years? Have there been more course offerings? Have more applicants been able to participate?
Well, both of us are fairly new to the program. I started in 2020, and Mr. Lee?
Yes, in 2021.
In 2021, okay.
Yes, but what I would have realized over the years is that more and more of our citizens are now given the opportunity to study in Taiwan.
Okay.
Prior, it was smaller numbers, like one digit, less than 10, who would have received those scholarships. Now we're in the two digits. We had as much as 14 persons who would have traveled to Taiwan in 1 year.
Nice.
Yes, so the numbers have increased.
And what areas are these scholarships offering, Mr. Lee? Would you know?
So a little bit difference between the MOFA Taiwan scholarship and the ICDF scholarship. So for the ICDF scholarship, each year there are about 30 programs provided by the partner university with the ICDF, and they are all conducted in English. So for example, this year, like over 30 programs are provided, and these programs include basically agriculture, international study, technology, computer science, healthcare, administration, journalism, and so on. Actually, you can go onto the embassy website to find a complete list of this year, and every year it will be a little bit different. So, but students looking to applying for the ICDF scholarship next year can take a look at the list this year for reference. The MOFA Taiwan scholarship, on the other hand, basically the students will study for the Mandarin, the language, for the first year when they are staying in Taiwan. And starting on their second year, they will they will apply for the undergraduate or master's or PhD programs from any degree programs in Taiwan. So they get to choose, but those programs will be conducted in Mandarin, which is why they have to spend the first year learning the language first.
Well, hearing you explain that makes a lot of sense to me, that difference, because I'm seeing MOFA as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that's, to me, part of outreach, if I were to think of it, understanding of the language as well. Makes sense on that end. So what exactly is covered by these scholarships? Is it full tuition? Is it room and board? What is it?
So for the ICDF scholarships, the ICDF the scholarship these are provided, of course, a round trip flight ticket to Taiwan, and also when they are in Taiwan, the ICDF will cover the tuition fee and the dormitory and the textbooks and the health insurance, and also the students will get a monthly allowance For the MOFA, on the other hand, the MOFA scholarship students, when they are in Taiwan, they also get the round-trip ticket as well. And when they are in Taiwan, they are responsible for the expenses of their life in Taiwan. But they will get a monthly stipend, which is, of course, more than the monthly allowance in the ICDF. But because for MOFA, they will have to pay for their tuition, their accommodation, etc. But the monthly stipend will be more.
So now that we know the difference, which scholarship do you have the most persons applying for?
For both scholarship, I think over the years, both scholarship has a lot of applicants, but just a little bit difference is that for the MOFA scholarship each year, for example, last year we have seven recipients for a MOFA scholarship, and this year there will be 10 recipients. And for ICDF, on the other hand, it's a little bit different because ICDF applicants, they will compete with all the other applicants from other countries from all over the world. So the actual recipients, at the end, is we're not sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we would encourage the students, outstanding students, to have good academic performance. So you can have more opportunity to getting the scholarship when competing with the other applicants. Yes.
Very nice.
If I may add, the question was which type do we get the most applications
yes.
for? Normally it's MOFA. MOFA normally have like sometimes 3 times as much applicants as ICDF. Reason being, even though persons would have to pursue 1 year of studies learning the language, MOFA tends to offer a wider variety of courses than ICDF. So normally we get more applications for the MOFA scholarship.
Okay, good stuff. And they're aware of the benefits of the scholarship as well?
Yes, they are.
Okay, all right.
And one of the benefits is that you learn a new language.
Yes.
And so you can share skills that you learn.
Certainly.
That's very exciting, even though it doesn't show on my face. All right. All right, so let's talk now about the process of applying to a Mandarin center. Is this mandatory? Applying to a Mandarin center?
Yes, it is mandatory once you are pursuing the MOFA scholarship, because like we said, you have to spend 1 year learning the language. You have a choice as to which Mandarin center you would want to apply to. At the Ministry of Education, we have a listing of several Mandarin or language centers, so the applicant can choose. They also dialogue with other clinicians who are already in Taiwan for suggestions, because nothing is better than persons who are actually living the reality. So that's how they go about selecting centers.
What are some of the submission requirements, Mr. Lee, when you are applying for these scholarships?
For both scholarships, basically the students will apply to the education, and I think the required documents include of course the application form and a photocopy of their passport, and also 2 reference letters, and also the diploma and the transcript of their highest education. For example, high school students, high school graduates, or the associate degree students, they can apply for a bachelor's degree, and bachelor's degree holders can apply for master's, and master's degree holders can apply for the PhD programs.
All right, so I'm turning to you, Mrs. Boddie. I know that you're new on the job, but when we talk about that breakdown of bachelor's to master's to PhD students, how do our numbers look for the application process? How have they looked in the past?
Okay, so over the years, last year, I think we had just 1 application for a PhD program. Normally, most of our applicants apply for bachelor's degree program. However, in 2020, I think it was, we had 2 persons who applied and were successful in getting the scholarship for PhD programs. So, and those areas are in areas of health.
Oh, that's fascinating and all very exciting. All right, so obviously we've talked about the most popular programs pursued. Let's talk about acclimating the students to Taiwan. Obviously, it's a new culture. How familiar are you with that process of what happens with the students once they arrive in Taiwan?
Want to keep in close contact with the international offices in their universities or the program managers over there. So they are all very experienced and willing to help the students over there, so they can consult them about whether it's their academic area or their daily lives over there.
So we're talking all about the MOFA and the ICDF scholarships, and obviously what we want to talk about now are some of the guidelines, some of the things that the public would like to know as to perhaps how they can apply and what to look forward to, what to expect. What can you tell us about those?
Okay, so each applicant is expected, let me start first with MOFA. So if someone is applying for the MOFA scholarship, he or she would be encouraged to collect a brochure from the Ministry of Education. Even though the information is online, we do encourage persons to collect the brochure from the ministry because it contains a whole lot of information. The application process, the documents that are required, and it gives a little history about the scholarship itself. So persons would be encouraged to complete the application form. It's online, and the link is inside the brochure. So you complete the application form, and then you bring the relevant documents, as Mr. Lee would have said early on, your transcript and certificates. The photocopy, the photo page of your passport is also included, 2 letters of recommendation, and am I missing anything? Okay, I think that's basically it.
Okay.
You also have to present proof that you would have applied to a Mandarin center. And once you have all of those documents, you bring them to the ministry, actually to my office, and I'll ensure that they are certified by our registrar. And then the applicant is responsible for taking them to the embassy so that they can be authenticated.
Okay. So you must apply to a Mandarin center even before considering getting a scholarship from MOFA?
Yes, because you need that evidence that you would have applied, because if you wait until you know for certain that you have received the scholarship, it would be too late then to apply to the Mandarin Center. Hence, the scholarship would be of no use to you.
Okay, understood.
So just like Mrs. Boddie just said, for MOFA scholarship, students will at this, when they are applying for the scholarship, at the same time they will have to approach the Mandarin Center and then get the admission or the receipt of the application. For ICDF, on the other hand, the student will also have to, when they are applying for the scholarship, they will have to contact the school and follow the school's instruction to complete the application process for the degree program. And so that's the thing that they have to keep in mind. They have to do that when they are applying for the scholarship at the same time.
Well, it's a lot of useful information. Can you remind us about the deadlines for the scholarships? Because deadlines are things that people don't want to miss at all, especially if you're thinking about participating.
Okay, so the deadline, the initial deadline for ICDF is actually today. However, we have given an extension of 1 week, so the ICDF deadline is now the 1st of March. So persons who wish to apply have not yet completed the process. You have a few more days. The deadline is the 1st of March for ICDF applications, and we will not go beyond that because this is the extended deadline. For MOFA, MOFA's deadline was the 1st of March, and we will now extend it to the 8th of March. So both, we have 7 extra days in which persons can use to apply.
I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I'm inclined to mix up the dates. And one thing that I heard you say that was common is March 1st. So do everything by March 1st if you can.
Indeed.
That way you'll be sure.
Okay, so March 1st, that's the deadline for ICDF application. And for MOFA, it's the 8th of March.
And I'll be dead after that.
And indeed. So if you're interested, do it now. How many persons are normally accepted for both scholarships from St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, like Mr. Lee said, the numbers aren't fixed.
Okay.
Okay, so they change from year to year. But last year we had 14 persons who received scholarships. I think it was 4 for ICDF and.
So for the MOFA this year, there will be 10 recipients, and for the ICDF, just like Mrs. Boddie said, last year there was 4, and like we said, because there is a competition basically when the embassy received the list from the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, we will not do any selections. We will refer that back to Taiwan, and then there is the scholarship committee in Taiwan will perform the selection process. And for MOFA, this year we're looking at 10 recipients, and for ICDF, because they will have to compete with all the other applicants from other countries. So we don't know that yet. But the final result will usually be announced, from Taiwan around June or July.
Okay. All right.
So enough time to get your affairs in order, say your goodbyes, and have fun for a nice 5-year journey, perhaps. 4 to 5 years in Taiwan. All right, each applicant can only apply for one program at a time, but you can accept multiple applications from the same applicant. Is that how it works?
No.
So you have to make your mind up.
Yes, you do.
Wow.
So you'll have to decide which scholarship you're going to apply for, be it ICDF or MOFA.
Okay. And which is the most popular program pursued in either MOFA or ICDF?
Well, for ICDF, persons tend to favor courses in agriculture. Okay. Yes, and for MOFA, we would have had quite a few persons who would have applied for architectural programs.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, that's fascinating, because to me, you're running the gamut. It's like anything, basically, and it's paid for. That's really exciting.
Exactly.
What about international relations? Have you had anybody to do that recently? Okay, not sure. I'll do my research, don't worry. I'll find out. And then we can have this conversation again. This is all very exciting. In your role as education officer, Mrs. Boddie, obviously you've dealt with students of many different ages, you've dealt with your parents. How important is the scholarship offering to you as an extension of the ministry, and also to St. Kitts and Nevis parents that you've dealt with the students?
Well, it is always good when people tend to pursue learning at a higher level, and it's even more rewarding when it's free. Okay. What I do find happen in a lot of cases is that there are parents who are coming in seeking the information for their children.
Okay.
And sometimes it's the parents who I see more than the applicant.
Okay.
I normally would see some of the applicants when it's time for them to come and sign the authentication form, right? But I find the parents are really involved. They are excited for their children, and I'm really excited for them. I try to do as much as I can to assist these persons, and normally they are very young persons, 19 onwards. Okay. But they are really happy, and because it is a very competitive scholarship, right? When persons are disappointed because they are not successful, they would come and ask why. And I try to explain it as best as possible. Sometimes there are no real answers because it's competitive. So even though you may have, you'll be qualified, but there are other persons who are more qualified than you. I do encourage them to try again. And some persons have done that and were successful on the second or the third try. Okay. But yes, I am just as elated as the recipients and the rest of their families when they are successful.
Just before we go, you mentioned 19. Is that the age you can apply for the scholarship? Or what about someone that would have been a star student? They're out of school at 16 and they intend to go to Taiwan. Are they allowed?
No, you have to be 18 years or older.
Okay.
Yes.
That would be on pause for 2 years. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Okay.
So any final words of encouragement or information that you want to impart to our public before we let you go?
I think I'll go first and then allow Mr. Lee to go after. I want to encourage persons, prospective applicants. So you are thinking of applying for a Taiwanese scholarship, please visit the office early. These applications open annually in January. So my advice to persons who are thinking of applying to visit the Ministry of Education in November or December and start the conversation, because sometimes there are some hurdles you have to overcome. And if you start the process early, you'll be able to overcome these challenges and ensure that you have a chance of applying and receiving the scholarship.
And Mr. Lee?
Just like Mrs. Boddie just said, we would encourage the the students who are interested in applying for the scholarship to start your preparation early, and you can go onto the website of the embassy to take a look at the information for this year's scholarship, so you have a knowledge of what's going to happen next year, and you can approach the schools you're interested, to do some research and prepare the documents needed for the application earlier.
I like